I abandoned my girlfriend because I thought she was unfaithful to me. 4 years later she married my best friend and I discovered something horrifying. I was 21 when my girlfriend of 8 years got pregnant with another man and left me for him. I fell into depression and was fired from my job because I began to decline at work. My best friend Robert helped me get up and get a new job. When I turned 23 I met Sienna. She was a new friend of my cousin. We met and I quickly asked her out. She accepted and over time we became a couple. I was quite toxic towards her. I wanted to know where she was all the time and with whom. Sienna refused to indulge this type of behavior because she said that if she agreed to this over time I would get worse, that I should trust her. In all other aspects our relationship was quite good. I began to heal and the relationship and bond became stronger. We started living together. We lasted 6 years together and they were the best years of my love life. Sienna and Robert eventually became good friends. One Friday night I had to stay to work overtime to do some reports for the end of the quarter at that time. Sienna, Robert and other friends went out drinking. I got home around 12:30 and Sienna still wasn't there. I started calling her and her cell phone was off. Robert sent me a message asking if I was already home and I answered yes. He sent me a photo of Sienna and a man unclothed in a bed sleeping. He texted I was looking for Sienna to bring home and I found her like this. After crying uncontrollably I took several of my things and went to my sister's apartment. I texted Sienna that she was a beach and had to get out of my apartment by Sunday and proceeded to block her. When I got to my apartment on Sunday, her things were gone. In the first few weeks she never tried to approach me to talk or apologize. It got so bad because she helped me so much to overcome the previous infidelity and she herself was unfaithful to me. I walked away and avoided anyone who talked about Sienna. My best friend supported me and said that she wasn't worth it, that it was better to realize it now and not in the future when we were married. About 3 months passed and I decided to go to another state. I got a job and a small place to stay where I could adapt. I met several women but the relationships never lasted long. I never had social networks. I had communication with Robert but over time it became non-existent. 6 months ago I decided to download Facebook. I found my sister and checking her friends list I found Robert. In marital status he said married. Checked the photos of him and he married Sienna a year ago. I asked my sister about them and she said that they didn't know anything about Robert's life since I left. They have seen him at most 10 times in these 4 years but they never started a real conversation. I wrote to one of my friends on Facebook at that time, and he did have contact with Robert. I asked him about it and he told me that Robert and Sienna became very close because Robert supported Sienna after her altercation. He also called me an idiot for abandoning Sienna in her state even though she always supported me. I asked him what she was referring to, as I didn't know what she was talking about. He asked for my number and called me a few minutes later. Apparently that night they started drinking a lot, several of them left Sienna alone. After a while Roberto sent me the image. They woke up Sienna and she didn't remember anything. The guy that was next to Sienna ended up roping her. She was very bad, especially after I kicked her out of the house. She never contacted me because she was really in a bad way. She went to therapy and when she wanted to look for me she found out that she was pregnant. Robert supported her all the time. She ended up losing the baby. They started dating later, got married and apparently now she is pregnant. I told my friend that I didn't know anything about that. I always believed that she was unfaithful to me and that Robert never tried to correct me in that regard. I really feel terrible, mentally worn out with so much crap because I still love Sienna. Should I contact Robert or Sienna? My Asian girlfriend and I have a language barrier. It leads to some very interesting things in the bedroom. I moved to Japan last year and got a girlfriend. The language barrier has been very difficult for us. About a week ago my girlfriend and I were getting freaky. She was giving me neck and I felt like I was about to cross the finish line so I began thinking about my grandma unclothed to last longer. It wasn't working for me and I was going to finish the race any second. I wanted her to slow down but I didn't know how to tell her. I motioned her to stop so I could sit up and take a break before getting back at it. She wasn't stopping so I went to sit up anyway and as soon as I did my kids paid a visit to my face. She was surprised because it looked like I stopped her giving me brain so I could intentionally splash my own face with my kids. I tried to laugh it off and went to clean myself up. The next time we had intimacy, we were fooling around and she was rubbing my manhood. After a hefty minute I crossed the finish line and I noticed her cupping her hands together to collect my kids. After she collected them all she came over and started rubbing them on my face. I just sat there in shock and laughed awkwardly while she did it. Now every time we do the deed she makes a point to rub my kids all over my face. I thought about using Google Translate to tell her to stop but she really enjoys it. I think I'll just accept my fate and embrace our new bedroom activity as a sort of skincare routine. Edit. My skin has actually become so much clearer since my girlfriend began rubbing my kids on my face. Everybody and their mom has been asking me what cream I use. I plan to bottle my kids up and sell them under the guise of cream. I'm going to be rich. My delusional wife keeps flashing her boobs so I gave her a taste of her own medicine. My wife and I have been together for 11 years, married for just over 5 years. Ever since I met her in college, she has been insecure about her appearance, specifically her body. When we got our first jobs out of college and became financially stable, she approached me and asked how I felt about her getting a honker job. I wasn't a huge fan of the idea. I told her I loved her how she is and that I didn't think she needed one. I just think they look oddly perky and not natural. And I've dated women in the past with varying chest size and would prefer a woman with flat boobs compared to someone with fake ones. But knowing how much it has bothered her, I told her I would support her decision either way, but I wish I never did. After thinking about it for a while, she approached me again to ask if I was still serious with my answer and that she was going to proceed with the operation. I wasn't sure how to feel about it at first. I thought about talking her out of it, but wanted to stand by my original answer and support her either way. So she did get a honker job. Her surgeon was fantastic and things did end up looking very good considering my prior opinion. The problem I've had is ever since she got her honker job, it's definitely made her put them on display. She went from wearing baggy and unrevealing clothing to very tight and revealing shirts with a lot of cleavage. I'm not enjoying the fact that she is willing to show people her bare breasts. It's no secret to anyone that has known her for a long time that she got a honker job. At first, it was mostly her just showing her girlfriends, which was still weird to me but didn't really cross a boundary for me. However, it's almost as if the more and more she's shown them off and gotten validation, the more and more enabled she is to continue doing it. The first time it crossed a boundary for me was when we were at a friend's house for dinner and drinks, and she had a little too much to drink and showed her girlfriend her breasts while her girlfriend's husband was standing right there. She pulled her breasts open in front of everyone sitting on the table. While driving back home I confronted her about her actions but she just replied by saying, "Don't you want to show everyone how great my new guns are?" I realized that she was still drunk and decided to wait until we got home. The next morning I tried to set boundaries with her but she accused me of controlling her and started crying. I thought that maybe this was a one-time thing, but I was wrong. Most recently, we were at a friend's house with many other mutual friends watching a football game, and she got drunk again. Upon our team scoring, she lifted her shirt and flashed her breasts at the entire party while jumping up and down in celebration. She's not even a football fan and hardly understands who to cheer for. To me it was like an excuse to just show off her breasts to everyone. I had enough and we had an argument again. She got defensive and turned it around on me, saying that for once in her life she's happy with how she looks and she just wants to feel good about herself. Arguing with her was pointless but there was still one way to fix this situation. The next week when we went for a family dinner with her parents, I decided to do what she does, thinking that she would understand how I felt. While her siblings and parents were eating, I stood up and flashed my pee-pee. Everyone stared at me with shock. My wife started screaming for me to cover up and told her parents that we were leaving. On the drive back home she asked me why the F would you do that? I told her because I feel good about my pee-pee and want everyone to know about it, just like you want everyone to know about your breasts. She broke down in the car and tried to explain how men always want to see boobs while girls aren't so obsessed. I had enough of her bullshit and told her that the next time she flashes her breasts, I'm going to flash my pee-pee.